In 2025, there are totally 8 Pokémon Centers in the Tokyo, Japan region. In this video, I'm gonna show you how to exactly visit all of them in only 7 days. I will tour you through all of these Pokémon Centers and show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. You will also be able to see all the exclusive items and the newest releases in these Pokémon Centers during my visit. However, not every Pokémon Center was created equally, so in this video, I'll also rate them on exclusivity, uniqueness, stocks level, store size, their spaciousness, and the ease to visit. By the end of this video, I'm sure that you have a clearer concept on how to spend your time and money in all of these wonderful Pokémon Centers in Tokyo. With that said, let's begin with the Pokémon store in Narita Airport.
Bulbasaur.
Hamburger.
This is our first Pokémon Center in Narita Airport. Right out of the gate, we have this cool Pokémon vending machine. It's nice to see them adapting their speciality from the Japanese culture. Though it may seem common to have vending machines on Japanese streets, this is the only Pokémon Center out of the 8 Pokémon Centers I've visited that has vending machines. Usually, the people who travel to Tokyo by plane either land in Haneda Airport or Narita Airport, which has the store. For those who are having their arrival or departure in Narita Airport, even though if you're not a big Pokemon fan, I suggest you to take a look in this store because they did a good job in displaying the essence of Pokemon's culture in terms of merchandise and different plushies. One of the big selling points of this Pokemon Center is the exclusive items. As you can see here, we have 4 different kinds of Aviation Pikachu costumes which you can only find in this Pokemon Center, which makes it very special for people who are traveling to Japan. If we talk about the size of the store, as you can see here, the entire store is already being fitted in this frame. But the upside is that it's not even crowded at all, so there's no worry about bumping into anyone and you can just freely browse whatever item that you like. In terms of the variety of products, I want to treat this Pokemon Center as a stepping stone, and we go from here to figure out what's the difference of other Pokemon Centers when compared to this one. Even though there are dozens of Pokemon Centers spreading across Japan, we can always expect certain kinds of Pokemon products being in stock in different stores, including but not limited to some exclusive items if there are any, some Pokemon figurines, Pokemon plushies, daily accessories, and all of that. Obviously, different Pokemon Centers may have different stock sizes depending on the flow of people and the store size. This Pokémon Center is located on the 4th floor of the airport, which is on the same floor as the departure lobby, or if you're arriving to Tokyo, you can simply find this Pokémon Center by going up a few floors using the escalators. For people who are into Pokemon TCG, almost for every Pokemon Center, they have different binders, holders, and different card sleeves for your needs as well. Also, the booster packs in these Pokemon Centers are being sold in market price, so a lot of people will try and come and see if they have the newest releases, which is a good way to save money by not buying from scalpers. Also, a lot of people would like to buy Pokemon plushies in different Pokemon Centers, but you should also know that not every Pokemon plushie will be in every Pokemon Center, which usually depends on a few criteria, for example, the store's location or the Pokemon's popularity in general. For example, like Suicune or Mewtwo, I don't think I've seen them anywhere else besides this Pokemon Center, so this is also a point that you should be mindful of when you're shopping here. If you're aware that you're only landing in Narita but you're leaving in Haneda, which means this is the only chance that you're visiting this Pokemon Center, and if you see some Pokemon plushies that you think are very popular out there, I wouldn't really hesitate on buying them because this store has tax-free, and also there's a chance that you might not even see it anymore in the city of Tokyo. The term tax-free means that for any purchases above 5,500 yen, you're gonna get around 10% off. Combining with the fact that the prices of Pokemon products are unified across Japan, you wouldn't have to be worried about buying them this early, unless you find it annoying to carry them around to your accommodations in every leg of the trip. Another point to note is that not every Pokémon Center products are only being sold in Pokémon Centers. Some of them, you can still find them in different department stores like Don Quixote and more. So as a general rule of thumb, for people who's just arrived, you could just browse around and expect to see similar things in the city. And for those who are leaving, I wish that you could find something that you like before you leave. Besides from the 4 aviation costume Pikachus, the Pikachu on the plane is also exclusive to this airport, while the Pikachu on the train you can still find it in the Pokémon Center in Tokyo Station. But if you want to have tax-free, this is the only place where you can have it, as the one in Tokyo Station, they do not provide tax-free. This upcoming shelf is about Mega Evolutions, which are released a few months prior to the main series games called Legends CA. From time to time, Pokémon Centers may have different promotional items. For example, at the time of editing, I believe they have items about the Halloween. Another major part of each Pokémon Center is the accessories. It is quite nice to see the Pokémon Company fuse a lot of their Pokémons into daily items like cushions and backpacks. This whole shelf displays their own product line of plastic figurines. I personally have owned some of them and I find the quality being quite good, so it may also be a good idea to buy a friend presents like these from this Pokémon Center. Alright, I think we should wrap up the ratings for this Pokémon Center in Narita Airport. In terms of exclusivity, I think this is an easy 5 because they have a lot of different exclusive products that are only available to this area and this Pokémon Center itself. If you're hunting for exclusive Pikachus in Tokyo, this is a good store to visit. In terms of the uniqueness of the store, I could give it a 3. Despite having a Pokémon vending machine, I find the designs and decorations of this Pokémon Center being kind of mediocre. In terms of stock size, I find some of the items missing when compared to other Pokémon Centers, so it's a 4. For the size of the Pokémon Center, frankly it is not that big, so I could only give it a 3, and I think this is well justified when you compare to the other Pokémon Centers that we will mention later in the video. In terms of the spaciousness of the store is actually near empty, so it is an easy 5. And for the easiness to visit this Pokémon Center, with 5 being the easiest, it's within the airport, so it's also a 5. Welcome to our second Pokemon Center in Sunshine City, Ikebukuro. What you're seeing out there is just exterior of this Pokemon Center, and the decorations was done extremely well. In order to visit the store, it is around a 10-minute walk from the Ikebukuro station. Once you're at the exit, just head east and follow the crowd, and eventually you'll find the shopping center. And the Sunshine City Mall is extremely huge, so it is very hard to miss it. The entire area outside was decorated fantastically, I gotta say. They have a lot of nice wall paintings and Pokemon statues, and they also have a Pokemon cafe if you wanna try out their food. There's also some unique stores for Pokemon Go and Pokemon TCG. So if you're a fan, there's definitely places for you to visit. Given all the decorations, there are still a little bit of complaints from me because I'm not sure if it's because I was arriving on a Saturday afternoon. We were actually asked to queue up before we have to go into the store, not to mention to check out. And a lot of items on the shelves are already taken away and they don't seem to be restocked very quickly. It may be caused by the sheer amount of visitors, or maybe coincidentally there were some big events, so there's a lot of people visiting the stores. But this was my case, so I gotta still tell you about it and be transparent about the situation. In terms of exclusive items, I don't think there's any exclusive items regarding my visit, but if we consider the entire floor with all of the Pokemon stuff around, I would say that this is a very unique experience. And if you are staying close to Ikebukuro, know that it is at a northwest position in Tokyo. I don't see a reason not to visit the store, besides maybe the peak hours where there are a lot of customers. Maybe that is something that you should be mindful of. At this point of the video, I would also like to give ratings of this Pokemon Center. In terms of exclusivity, I could only give it a 1. Despite it having a lot of different facilities around the Pokemon Center, there are no exclusive items whatsoever and all of the products are very standard. However, if we talk about the uniqueness, there's no other Pokemon store which has the combination of all of these Pokemon facilities within the same floor of a mall, where you could enjoy TCG, you can enjoy Pokemon Go, and maybe you could go to the cafe on the same floor of the mall, which is very unheard of. For stock availability, I could only give it a 3 because there's truly places for improvement. But considering it is a weekend, it is kind of understandable for this to happen. And if we talk about the size of the Pokemon Center, it is actually very huge, so I'll give it a 4 because a big portion of the floor is covered by this Pokemon Center and other Pokemon related facilities. Despite having such a huge floor plan, this Pokemon Center wasn't as spacious as we think. And for the rating, it is only getting a 2 because I wasn't able to do a lot of stuff. I could only at most show you the photos I took. There were even signs telling us to not record anything because there are too many people. Image taking is the most that I could do, so I have to respect them and to only show you via images. Even after being in the store for around 20 to 30 minutes, I was still not that familiar with the floor plan. And you might also want to know that there were just too many people and way too crowded for me to have any motivation or mood to film everything in the store. Finally, speaking of the difficulty to visit the store, with 5 being the easiest, I could only give it a 3 because despite having only a 10-minute walk from the Ikebukuro station, and if we use the previous Pokemon Center in Narita Airport as a reference, essentially any extra traveling that requires walking would decrease the score. Now guys, let's take a look at our third Pokémon Center in Toyosu, Tokyo Bay. Now this Pokémon Center is on, I believe, a second floor of an outlet called Lalaport, and it is around 40 minutes at least from the city center. Though it takes a long time to get to this Pokémon Center, the main highlight of the shop is the exclusive items. I was actually too excited that I even forgot to film the exterior of the whole shop, so forgive me for that. But for real, the amount of crazy and special products that you can find in this store will absolutely blow your mind. Let's begin with the latest promotion of items in this Pokémon Center. We have a curry Pikachu surrounding the theme of food and dessert, I believe. And on the right side, we have a Cowboy Pikachu collab with Mudbray. And all of the products, we have stickers, we have pins, we have plushies with different sizes. And all of these items, I believe, are just very recent from my recent visit in July. And the ones you see here right now are already there for perhaps a month or two. These are the bags that are featured in the Pokemon anime by Lily. And here are the exclusive items you can only find in Tokyo-based Pokemon Center. We have a bunch of different products. For example, a picnic sheet with a carrying bag, pool toy, and some other pins and plushies that are surrounding the theme of the Bay Area, which has Meryl, Pikachu, and Ampharos. And I was actually quite surprised and excited to buy them because I believe they have been out for quite a long time, and it is still impressive to see these many products in stock. Let's take a look at the products on the other side of the store. These are some of the common products that I believe are usually there in different Pokemon centers. And here we have some plushies of the first generation. Note that actually some of the Pokemons here are just duplicates, and it seems like there's a lot of them, but they are just the same one with a lot of different columns. So for example, I've even seen a Vulpix for my whole week of visit, so it comes to mind that actually some of the products are very fan favorite based, and some of them you can never find them because they are just too popular, and every time they restock it, people just buy it. And perhaps we could speak about the uniqueness of the store. Although there isn't any special features aside from the big screen, as you can see in the first scene, it is quite big, and perhaps you can buy some newly released Pokemon cards. That is if you're interested in them or you are a collector of them. It is less likely for people to travel this far to get these Pokemon cards, but it is also unlikely that you live by Tokyo Bay during your stay, so if you get your way over here, maybe you will have a chance to find these newly released Pokemon cards. And perhaps we could also talk about the stock level. I think they are decent, they are okay in terms of variety, and they got enough of displays for different sort of items in the store. And I'm quite confident that if you are a Pokemon fan, you are able to get something you like from this store. But just note that this store does not have tax-free, so if you're traveling all the way here to the store, make sure that you're only going for the exclusive items. And all of these plushies that you can see here, they're just for reference and to let you know how they look like and if you like how they look. Because most likely you'll still find them in other Pokemon centers, and if you want to spend your money wisely, you should only go for the exclusive items here. And if you come by to the Lalaport area for outlet shopping, perhaps this Pokemon Center can be your other activity to spend your time in this area. If we're talking about store size, it is actually quite big, and don't quote me on this. I think there was a TCG area where you can play Pokemon cards at a certain time throughout the day, and there's absolutely quite some space for every different interest that you've got when you are arriving this store. But speaking of spaciousness, I have to mention that there are just way too many people again, just like the previous store. And maybe, just maybe, it was because of a Sunday. There are a lot of local families with their kids and the trolleys everywhere. So you still gotta be mindful when you browse the products and you don't bump into anyone. And there was also quite a queue for when I was trying to check out with my items. So this is also something that you might want to be mindful for. Perhaps because some of my experience in Tokyo-based Pokémon Center. For exclusivity, I'll give it a 5. Obviously, for the amazing exclusive items they have in this store only. And if you're looking for these exclusive items, this is a very good shop to go. And for uniqueness, it has almost every item that you would find in other shops, like the standard Pokémon Centers. So I'll give it a 3. And in terms of stock level, I'll give it a 4, because despite of the amount of people that are visiting the store, they are still maintaining a good stock level. And for the size of the store, I could give it a 5 because it is actually pretty big and they have enough shelves to display the items that they have to display. And some of them, they even have the luxury to display multiple of the same items, which I think is very good for maintaining the image of the store. And for spaciousness, I could only give it a 3 because I have mentioned there are a lot of people here, but it's not at a point where you have to stand still and to let people pass before you go. It's just that you gotta be mindful when you walk around. And if we talk about the difficulty to travel to this store, with 5 being the easiest, I could only give it a 2. Despite how easy it is to just walk from the JR station to the Pokémon Center, and there are multiple ways, not to mention, it's just too time consuming for the average tourist. And if you're not here to hunt for exclusive items, or you're already having plans having to shop in this area, I don't really recommend going here. Our next Pokémon Center is the one in Tokyo Station. It is outside the gate and it is in the shopping street on the eastern side of the whole building. Outside we can see a different sort of decorations surrounding luggages. These are the starters. I think it's the newer starters. And we have this train conductor Pikachu as well. So you can expect to find this Pikachu in the store, as when I went there, there's abundant amount of this Pikachu. No matter it's a bigger plushie or smaller plushie, you can always find them. And besides that, if you were aware, I've also mentioned a trained Pikachu in our first Pokémon Center, and that is also available here. Though this store does not have tax-free, so if you really want to go for it, sure, go buy it. But else, I see no reason not to buy it from the Narita Airport Pokémon Center instead. I would recommend this Pokémon Center to those who are staying in Tokyo for a short time, or you are actually traveling through Tokyo in Japan to different places. As this center is right inside the train station, it is very easy to visit, and if you're a Pokemon fan, for sure, take your time and go browse whatever you like here. In terms of the other normal items that are available in the store, I could find some Gen 4 items that are a little bit more popular in this store, so maybe if you're a Gen 4 fan, you can maybe spend some time and see if there's anything that you like. But even if that's not the case, I believe that this store still has enough to offer for you to have a very good shopping experience. And for those whose traveling destination is actually Tokyo, if you plan your day around this area, don't forget to also visit the Pokémon Center DX, which is around a 10-minute walk from this Pokémon Center, and that Pokémon Center is truly one of a kind. But for now, let's keep our focus back onto this Pokémon Center as we move on to the ratings. In terms of exclusivity, I'll give it a 5, mainly because of the train conductor Pikachu that you can only find in this store. And for the Pikachu sitting on a train, it is only in one of 2 stores, and this is the only store you can find in the city of Tokyo that has this plush. And if we talk about the uniqueness of this store, that is the decoration and the theme of the store. It has done very well to construct this store into a train station vibe, and you can really feel it once you step inside the store, in which I will give it a 4 for uniqueness. In terms of stock variety, I will give it a 3, though as I mentioned, it is possible to find some of the less popular and rare stuff in this store. I think that the store size has really limited its capabilities to display all of the items that they have, in which I could only give it a 3 for stock size and also a 3 for store size. In terms of the spaciousness of the store, we're talking about the walkability inside. You have to understand that Tokyo Station is a very busy station, and even though it's on a normal weekday, there are still some amount of tourists inside, and there was a queue when I had to check out, so you have to be mindful of that as well, in which I can only give it a 3 for spaciousness. And in terms of difficulty to travel to it, with 5 being the easiest, I would still give it a 5, because I'd say the harder part is to locate the store than to actually walk to it, so easy 5. After a 10-minute walk from the Pokemon shop in Tokyo Station, we have now arrived in Pokemon DX and Pokemon Cafe. In the front door, we have this amazing statue of Snorlax, Mew, and Pikachu greeting us. On the left side, we have a whole wall displaying the entire history of Pokemon games throughout different eras. It was definitely fascinating to look at, and if you're a player since then, I think you'll be very amazed at the amount of stuff they're displaying here. Please also note that there are actually a few exclusive Pikachus in the store too, but for me, I was not lucky enough to see them, so I'll just show them on screen. Let's take a look on the inside of the shop. On the left side, we have a wall with a lot of Mega Evolution Pokemon plushies, which have just been released from the latest promotion, which is about Mega Evolutions. And there's really plenty of stock for you to pick and choose. And not to mention, this store also offers tax-free, so if you have been waiting for this whole time to shop somewhere where you have a lot of purchases, this is the shop to go for. And they're also displaying a lot of household accessories, for example umbrellas and stamps and different pots and that in this store. And yes, they still have the Food Pikachu product line in the store. These are the Pokemon figurines, and there are 6 of them in the big box. So you can either buy a big one and to grab all 6 for different Pokemons, or you can test your luck and just to buy one and see if you've gotten the one that you like. Let's take a look at the different features of the store. Now, as I've mentioned, I was unable to find any exclusive items on the day of visit, but they usually have some. What you see right here is the Infinity Wall, I would call it Infinity Wall, for Pokemons, which is very iconic if you've seen other people's videos. They did a very good job in constructing a wall of unlimited Pokemon, and you can also of course go inside to shop for other items. Just a heads up, the variety of stocks here are quite limited because maybe it is the most iconic store in whole of Tokyo, and maybe people are here because it is the most popular or it is as popular as the one in Shibuya. So perhaps some of the items that you like you cannot find here. Another amazing find from this Pokémon Center was some leftovers promotion items from previous months. For example, we have some t-shirts from Team Rocket's event for around 2 or 3 months ago. Alright, so let's talk about the ratings of this Pokémon Center in Tokyo DX Nihonbashi. First of all, in terms of exclusivity, I could only give it a 3, as I wasn't able to find anything exclusive during my visit. And very leniently, even if the Pokemon Cafe was counted as one of the criteria, I would still give it a 3, due to its high demand and not everyone could get into it because it's sort of a luxury to even go inside. It was near impossible to book, and even for reservation, you have to be very competitive and be quick enough to reserve a spot for yourself. Second of all, in terms of uniqueness, the Infinity Wars design was truly amazing, and it has the ability to display different Pokemons there, so it's an easy 5. Now, if we combine this structural feature with the Pokemon Cafe, combining with the Snorlax up front with Mew and Pikachu, and also the wall that you can see that has the histories of different Pokemon games, this truly makes this shop a place for every Pokemon fan to visit. While we should move on to the stock variety, the stocks here are pretty standard, and even for some of the newest promotions, I find them lacking a little bit of items in terms of choices. But given the amount of people that are visiting the store every day and the speed of them restocking, I would give it a solid 3 for the ability for them to keep up with the supply every day. For the size of the store, I would give it a 4 because it's very big for the amount of items that they have. And for spaciousness when you walk around the store, I could only give it a 3 for the amount of people that are just walking past you when you're visiting. And in terms of easiness to visit the store, with 5 being the easiest, I will give it a 4 because it's a 10-minute walk away from the station, and you can fairly easily find the building through a lift that only brings you up to this floor. Our next Pokemon Center is the one in Skytree, Tokyo. Now, if you're a Rayquaza fan, you'll be very happy to visit the store because there's not only one, but also a shiny Mega Rayquaza in the back. One of them is the one that you're seeing here, with one having a Pikachu on top of it. And I think this decorates the store very well in terms of being a very cool Pokemon up front. Now, if you have been watching this video for this long until now for more than half an hour, thank you so much for appreciating my hard work in editing these many footages into one whole video. Comment down below which one's your favorite Pokemon Center so far, and whether if you like this Pokemon Center once I finish introducing it to you. With that said, let's get back into business and talk about this Pokemon Center. There's one point that I gotta mention is this Pokemon Center's location. It is located in the Asakusa region, so a bit of northeast of Tokyo. And if you're not really visiting Tokyo Skytree, it will take you around 30 minutes or more to get here from the Tokyo city center. It is located on the 4th floor of the Skytree shopping mall, but it really took me some time to find it myself, so prepare more time to find the shop. If you have planned to visit Tokyo Skytree on the day of visit, you would be very recommended to take a look at this store as well because there's also tax-free, which means you can buy different Pokemon products with a cheaper price. Similar to different other Pokemon centers, the active promotion products will be readily available in different stores throughout Tokyo as well. With that being said, let's take a look at the different aspects of this Pokemon Center in Tokyo Skytree. In terms of exclusivity, once again, I was unable to find any exclusive items in this store, but usually there should be a plush of Pikachu holding Skytree. It seems that the restocking schedule is very unpredictable, so let's hope that your next visit to this Pokemon Center, there will be a Pikachu waiting for you. In terms of uniqueness, the 2 Rayquazas in the store are the highlights. If you're a big fan of Rayquaza, I think it is worth a visit to take a look at the wonderful statues while shopping for the favorite products that you may find. In terms of stock levels, I was able to find a lot more of the same products inside the store when compared to the ones that are closer to the city center. But just to make it clear, only visit the store if you're a big fan of Rayquaza and wanted to take pictures of the 2 statues inside the store, you want tax-free or you come by Skytree, because mainly the variety of products here aren't that different from the ones that we've mentioned. If we talk about the area of the Pokemon Center, I would say it is fairly big because you can find a little bit of duplicates of different other products. In terms of spaciousness, this store is quite big and there wasn't really a lot of people there, so you could browse your items without having to worry about bumping into someone while you walk. In terms of the easiness to find this shop, to be honest, it even took me a while to locate the store, so it wouldn't be ranked very high. To sum up my experience in this Pokemon Center, even though there are 2 Rayquaza statues and they are very appraisable, I just find the store being a bit standard and the variety of stocks being normal and kind of mid. If you don't have a special reason to visit the store, I will skip it instead and save my time onto visiting some other Pokemon centers in Tokyo. So my final rating, 3 for exclusivity, 4 for uniqueness, 3 for stock level and the size of the store, 4 for spaciousness, and a 3 for the ease to visit. Welcome to the Pokémon Center in Shibuya, and outside we have this very recognizable Mewtwo statue where a lot of people are taking pictures of it. If you search Pokémon Center Japan in general, I'm sure that a lot of you have seen this Pokémon Center pop up in your feed. I mean, this is not very surprising at all because Mewtwo has been an iconic Pokémon for many generations. And this Pokémon Center has also a very unique feature, the Pokémon Lab, where you can design your own t-shirts according to your likings. This wall you see right here shows all the different designs that you could possibly make using their templates, or some custom artworks featuring different Pokémons. As someone who likes this sort of graffiti style art, I was very amazed when I first arrived. And let me remind you, this is just the exterior of the store, we still haven't walked in yet. And you can see the amount of effort that the Pokemon company has done to decorate this store. And maybe we can talk about the location of the store. It is around a 5-minute walk from the nearest JR station, and it is on the 6th floor, next to a Nintendo shop in a Pokémon mall. So it is very accessible for tourists that are in the Shibuya area. Besides the nice decorations outside this Pokémon Center, the interior is also very well decorated into a futuristic vibe. Though the products they're displaying isn't really that special, you can really feel the atmosphere with their black and white design. And before we talk about the normal products that are in this store, I want to spend some time and explain how does the Pokemon Design Lab works. So basically, you queue up for a line, and you can access the computers and pick different designs and customize your t-shirts in around 20 minutes. They have a lot of customizable templates for different Pokemons, or you can choose one of their already created templates so you can spend less time on the machine. After paying for the shirts and waiting for about 40 to 45 minutes, you'll then receive your t-shirts in your size. Though you have to also understand that there are a lot of people that are visiting the store, so the size that you need may not be available anymore. So if you're gonna daily wear this t-shirt, I'll suggest you visiting the store early to make sure you have the correct size for you. If you're gonna treat this as a souvenir, I guess this wouldn't be a big problem. I believe I arrived at around 5 PM and there were still some available sizes, and they're mainly in black or white. However, this process is kinda time consuming. Even when I was arriving on a weekday, I still have to wait for around 40 to 45 minutes for the machine itself, not to mention another 40 to 45 minutes to wait for the shirts to be well printed. So if you're very sure that you're gonna get a t-shirt from this Pokemon Design Lab, I strongly suggest you to plan your day well, to not waste precious time. With that out of the way, let's talk about the products in this store. In terms of exclusive products, there should be a Pikachu holding a graffiti spray, but yet again, I was unlucky, or maybe they are already out of stock when I was visiting. But the Pokemon Design Lab really makes up in this criteria. In terms of uniqueness, I'd say that Mewtwo statues and a lot of different displays outside of the store are already very unique, as you couldn't find them really anywhere outside of Tokyo. In terms of stocks levels, I'd say that they're pretty standard, and after seeing these many footages of different Pokemon Centers regardless of location, I think you also know what to expect to see in these stores. If we talk about the store size, I'd say it is quite big because they are really fitting in a lot of different products, and some of the area in the store are just for decoration purposes as well. In terms of spaciousness, I'll say that it is fair because there are really a lot of people there, but it's not at a point that you couldn't walk, and you can still browse and see your items in the shop. In terms of the difficulty to find this Pokemon Center, it is located in a very major area and in a very big shopping mall, but I wouldn't say that it's hard to find. Before we review the final score of this Pokemon Center, I'd also like to mention that it is tax-free, so if you have any items here that you like, feel free to get them, because it is truly one of the best Pokemon Centers you can find in the Tokyo area. With that being said, the Shibuya's Pokemon Center has the rating. For exclusivity is a 4, for uniqueness is a 5, for stocks level is a 3, size of the shop is a 4, spaciousness is a 3, and the easiness to visit a 4. Our next and final Pokemon Center of the video will be in Yokohama. It takes around 45 minutes to get there, and it's technically not in the Tokyo region. However, it was the biggest Pokemon Center I've ever visited. So for people who wonder how's it look like, or for those who are having a day trip in Yokohama, I've got you covered. This right here is our final Pokemon Center of this video, which is in Yokohama. I visited on a weekday's afternoon, so there wasn't a lot of people, so I could walk relaxingly, and the size of the shop was just incredible. It took me around an hour to finish the entire shop and to buy the things that I liked. Perhaps of the location, they were able to afford a larger area to display the products. This allowed them to display a lot of different items, including the newest ones that people are almost always buying, or promotion items that were already out of stock in the main areas of Tokyo. For example, right here we have this sleeping collection, in which that we could still find them in the Shibuya Pokemon Center, but I remember seeing them when I was traveling on January of 2025, so you can see that they're still keeping up with the restocking after half a year. And for sure, for the Mega Evolutions, they have plenty of stock. And if we look here, we have this monochromatic Ho-Oh and Lugia collection, and I only remember seeing them in Pokemon Center DX. However, I still have to mention that there are usually some exclusive items in this Pokemon Center, but yet again, I couldn't find them in this Pokemon Center. Perhaps they were out of stock, or I was just unlucky. So I'll just show them on screen, and hopefully you can find them next time you visit the store. The variety of products in this store was just simply amazing, and I couldn't really explain them side to side, one by one to you. So hopefully you enjoy this following montage of all of the items in the store, and you'll understand the massive difference of this Pokemon Center to the ones in Tokyo. If we speak about the uniqueness of this Pokemon Center, with Yokohama being a harbor city, we have Kyogre being the mascot of the store. If you're a big fan of Kyogre, I'm sure that you'll love this statue very much. We have this entire rack of small Pokemon display figures, which you can find in other toy stores as well, but undoubtedly speaking, this is one of the best Pokemon Centers that you can find. Right, while we pan through this wall of Pokemon plushies, let's take a look at the ratings of this Pokemon Center in Yokohama. First of all, in terms of exclusivity, I can give it a 3 because there are a lot of new products that they're displaying, and these are the products that you couldn't really find in the Tokyo area. While they have an exclusive Pikachu in this store, I was unable to find them, so I couldn't really give them a very high score for that. If we talk about the uniqueness of the store, with Kyogre being the mascot and them decorating the Pokemon Center into a harbor theme, I think that is very nice and I should give a 4 for that. In terms of stock, we're talking about a variety of products here. It is an easy 5. This is the longest part of the entire video of showing only one Pokemon Center, so you really understand the caliber of the amount of products they can show within the store. And it is also an easy 5 for the size of the store, with no further reason needed. If we talk about the spaciousness of the store, though there may be 1 or 2 people walking in front of you while you browse, I don't think that really causes an issue, so I still give it a good score and give it a 5. In terms of the easiness to visit this Pokemon Center, well, it really depends because normally I wouldn't recommend you to travel all the way from Tokyo to Yokohama just for this Pokemon Center. But if you know you are gonna be in Yokohama and you're just by the JR station, I wouldn't say no to visit this masterpiece of a Pokemon Center. Though it may have taken a while for me to find out the store's exact location, I wouldn't give it a very low score because it's still really easy to visit, so I would give it a 4 for that. Alright guys, I know that we're still in Yokohama, but I think it's time for us to do a real conclusion for the entire video. Up here on the screen, I'll be showing every single criteria of every Pokemon Center in the Tokyo area, which I have visited for 8 days in total, including the tax-free status and the total score as well. So I hope that you can use this table and figure out which store to visit and which store to not visit. But to be fair though, I don't think that anybody should have this kind of schedule to try and visit 8 Pokemon Centers in 8 days, though it was possible. This style of filming every single Pokemon Center really takes a lot of time, and it was really kind of rushy for me to do all of this in my actual trip to Japan. If you're a fan of Pokemon and you want to visit the stores, here are some tips and tricks that I like to give you to save some of the time while still experiencing most of the things that I did in this week of travel. If you like Pokemon but you're not really into it, I would recommend you to go to the Narita Airport's Pokemon Center during your arrival or departure. It is very easy to find and you will definitely find some things that you like. If unfortunately you're not arriving or departing from the Narita Airport, you can still go to the Shibuya Pokemon Center or Tokyo Station's Pokemon Center depending on the schedule of your visit. And for those who really likes Pokemon and they would like to spend more time on more Pokemon Centers, and this would apply to most of the people that are watching this video, if you want to enjoy tax-free while enjoying the most of every Pokemon Center, this is the plan for you. Besides visiting the Pokemon Center in Shibuya, I'd like to have you save a day for the Tokyo Station's Pokemon Center and the one in Tokyo DX because they're just 10 minutes apart. It would definitely be a fun trip if you find out more exclusive items that I didn't in this trip. And for people who are traveling to the Asakusa region, Tokyo Bay or Yokohama region, if you do not mind cross-city traveling anyways or you have your itinerary planned around those places, I would say that you should go to those Pokemon Centers as well, especially for the one in Yokohama. As you can see here, the footage of this Pokemon Center is still going, and I do not really want to cover up the entire screen for you, but I think these are very important information if you really want to know what exactly to do during your next visit in the Tokyo region. If you're still here watching after 50 whole minutes of me talking to you, thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for watching my video as well. This is my first time ever trying this style of editing and my way of explaining every Pokémon Center to anyone. If you find any part of this video useful, or you enjoyed watching the footages of every different single Pokémon Centers in the Tokyo region, please like and subscribe if you think you've earned it, and maybe next time I'll do some coverage of the Pokémon Centers in the Osaka region, the Fukuoka region, or some other regions that people usually go to where there are new Pokémon Centers around. Thank you so much for staying till the end, and I wish you a good day.